street over. What's going on? One street over from where you're living, and we appreciate you joining us. Monday morning, back at it. Summertime. We're living right in Robertson County, and we just appreciate you so much joining us. If you're new to the program, this is what we do. Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m. We want to see what's happening one street over from where we're living. Do you know your neighbors? Do you know what they're up to? Do you know what your friends are up to? Like my friends Matt and Christy Driscoll are in the house, my dear, dear friends, brother and sister in Jesus Christ and all things. They're CR folks. They're the ones who drug me into CR, right? Right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And it was the best thing ever. It's one of those things. So many of my friends that have gotten involved, they're like, well, I just came to help. Then I realized I needed it.
Yes.
You know, that's what happens all the time. But, and a lot of people are very private about their CR journey. We are not. So, we're CR folks. And I mean, Matt, usually, do you have a CR shirt on? You normally do.
No, I got a Trace Diaz shirt on
today. And but they're here to talk about all the things that they're doing, their nonprofit stuff that they're doing, and just their life, because they're my friends and they're fun and they're interesting. And Matt is a veteran. Christy is still active service. What is your rank right now?
It's a senior, but my chief promotion package was just submitted.
Oh, what are you going to be?
A chief, the E9.
E9.
E9. See, I don't understand military stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you work up at the Armory.
I do, yes.
Yep. So she's in, she's all dressed up every day. People going to thank you for your service all the time, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Do you ever get tired of that?
I do. There's times that you feel kind of uncomfortable with it because you're not maybe, you don't feel like you're making the same sacrifices as those that were at wartime or something. So you like, oh, I don't do much, but yes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. I'm proud of you, sister.
Thank
You're one
you.
of my heroes. Y'all are both. I just love y'all so much because I tell everybody, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't serve my country. Mm-hmm. And I was a big old chicken because I came out of the Vietnam War era and we had lost our hired hand, Kenneth. And so I was just terrified of serving, and had several opportunities to step into the service and turned them down. But God directed my path where he wanted it nonetheless. And so, but I do honor y'all. Appreciate y'all so much. And so what are we going to talk about today, guys?
It's a family affair. So my dad's dad served. My dad served. He retired as an E9. My daughter enlisted last year.
No.
And then my brother is in. He's a commissioned officer.
Yeah.
And my son is talking to a recruiter. He has an appointment at MEPS in July 12th.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then when you come home, you marry to the general.
Yeah. No, you're not a general.
Come home and I expect a hand salute every day,
What was your rank when you retired?
Yes.
Yeah, when you
We don't need to discuss that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Does she outrank you?
Yes.
Maybe on base, but not at home.
No.
At home, it's different.
I love it. I love y'all so
I
much.
expect you to
So much fun.
snap to and proper hand salute.
Y'all are so funny. Y'all are so funny. But anyway, I love y'all. Matt and Christy Driscoll in the house for the hour. So much we could talk about, from all the stuff with Celebrate Recovery to what you're doing at your home. You got Trust Diaz shirt on. So I don't understand. That's something I kind of like. I don't understand that. Everybody talks to me about it like, well, you know what? I really don't. I don't have a clue what it is.
We would love to. I'd love to sponsor you and Mark for that. It's
that's trying to get a weekend to do that.
They're separate weekend. They're everybody says that now. It's for the longest time. I fought it too. I'm like. Yeah, as you just said, we stay really busy. So to get away for a weekend, I fought it pretty hard.
Yeah.
But after going, I can honestly say it was probably one of the greatest things I ever did.
Well, until we finish, you're in school right now. Christy's working on a master's at Lipscomb, my alma mater. And he and I are both in our educational preparedness programs because we're CTE teachers. Until we finish that, I'm not signing up for nothing because we're both in school. And plus I'm getting my second, I'm 2 weeks out from my right knee replacement. I'm getting the second one done the Monday I get back from Mexico because we got a Mexico mission coming up. So I'm very curious and I want to know more because I don't know anything about it. And everybody just kind of assumes when you're in CR that you know about broken chains and Trace Diaz and all
Trace
these
Diaz
things.
has nothing to do with CR. It's a completely different thing.
Oh, really? I thought it was.
No, it has absolutely nothing to do with it.
You have a lot of people who kind of do both, but Matt, can you explain Trace Diaz real quick? Oh, I caught you mid-dream.
No, it's Trace Diaz. It's non-denominational.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what denomination you fall in. So basically what it is basically it's 3 days because, that's the Trace Diaz, 3 days.
Uh-huh.
Basically, Christ was put to the cross on a Friday and risen on Sunday. And that's kind of the mentality. And through that 3 days, you just kind of have a, we'll just call it kind of coming to Jesus moment.
Okay.
And it's just really awesome. It has nothing to do with CR.
Well, then I was completely, yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't want to go too in because, and it's not like we're trying to be secretive about it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to take away from folks' experiences, right? So if we go in like, hey, you do this and this and this, it's going to take away from, what you
experience there.
But we call it, leaving things on the mountain.
Yes, and you completely disconnect from the world from 3 days. And I will say, I initially was really stressed about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to know my animals are being fed?
Yeah.
And
or what if a client needs me? Or
so it was completely disconnecting, leaving cell phones and watches and everything at home, and it is just being alone with God, but there's other people there helping and things like that. It's beautiful. It is an amazing experience.
So there'd be 20-ish, somewhere in the mid-20s candidates there. So the men are one weekend, women are another. So it's separate as far as gender. So let's say there's 25 candidates. You're going to have like 150 brothers serving. So now I've already been a candidate. Now I go back and I serve twice a year.
Okay.
For, 2 weekends a year. But in that, I'm probably getting more out of the serving than I am even the attending. The attending broke me. I mean, it was awesome. It was I was sobbing all weekend. It was amazing. But then when I did it this last time to go in to serve, that's a blessing. So you have 150 people literally there to serve 25.
Really? How wild. Okay.
I
had no clue.
And I think probably why there is similarities between CR and Trace Diaz just by the serving and the way that you love on people and being able to, watch people or be the candidate and then the realization of what you need and how you need Jesus and stuff. But
let things go. And
it's like CR on steroids, which is a weird thing to say, but.
It's like you'll understand this because you've gone through a step study. It's like a step study, but in 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's where it's crammed into 3 days. It's high intense. The days, are really long, but you don't even notice it because again, you're unplugged. You have no concept of time, and they start us off pretty early in the morning, and they go to pretty late, late in the evening.
And you're well taken care of. You're fed, everything, medication, everything that you need, you're taken care of.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, is it something that only married couples go through?
Yeah, singles go to it too.
Okay.
So basically to go, us as somebody that's gone through it, we could sponsor you guys.
Okay.
And you have somebody have to sponsor you to go through it. It's not for hey, I think I want to know Jesus. It's supposed to be for folks that have already come to know God and have a relationship. So that is one of the requirements. But yeah, it's just
interesting.
Okay. You guys should, if you'd love to. I think we'd love to sponsor you guys.
Not right now, but
when you're ready.
I think it's not right now. It's only twice a year.
Yeah.
There's one in the fall, one in the spring, and that's it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that goes in. It's all volunteers. So the moment we got done with this last one this spring, they already started working on the fall one.
Yeah.
Putting it all together. So that way the candidates have a great experience.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Trace Diaz. Okay. Now I know a little bit more about it. So, but now as far as what we really came together to talk about, we want to talk about your nonprofits and, I know that I saw the Safe Harbor Sanctuary stuff, right? Is that yours?
That is my baby.
That is your baby.
No, what do you mean? I thought you meant yours between Matt and I.
Because y'all have what you're doing at your farm.
So yes, so it's called Safe Harbor Sanctuary. Okay. It is a horse rescue. Over the last couple of years, we've started specializing just in the breed called standardbred horses. Okay. And those are the horses that are used for the harness racing. And
like up in Oak Grove, Kentucky.
Yeah. The harness racing is the horse drives a mile around a cart with the little, or a mile around.
Yep. I'm a Kentuckian.
Okay,
so
yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But I started volunteering for Safe Harbor in 2019. And what was funny is we were living in a subdivision in Greenbrier. I signed up for volunteer orientation in May, started volunteering. in May.
I want to go play with some horses.
And, well, I had horses as a kid, and I just had always wanted to get back to that lifestyle. Right. And started volunteering in May. By July, I had fallen in love with this horse named Bosco. He is a one-eyed standardbred who was a harness racing horse, and then he spent, after he was retired from racing, he spent his lifestyle with the Amish community, ended up in a kill pen, and then through a standardbred rescue foundation, Safe Harbor had bought him and then was rehabbing him. He'd actually had been there for a couple of years, and so I met him in 2019. He so reminded me of my bell racer that I had as in high school. So I called my dad up, who was in Alaska, and I was like, "Hey, can I get a horse and keep it back at your farm?"
Say it right.
Daddy, can I buy a horse and keep it at your place?
Daddy.
He's like, "Yes." And so I filed for adoption to adopt.
It came with Kira because Kira was like Bosco's little running mate.
Yeah. And so
it wasn't just one horse, it was two.
And then we still lived in Greenbrier.
Yeah.
So we put that house on the market. Matt worked like crazy and remodeled it, and
the house, the property next to my father-in-law came to sale literally as this all was happening.
It's like God just going,
totally
by the way, this is for sale too.
Yeah, and said, here, go ahead, go.
Digress, we're getting off. But so I volunteered. I've been volunteering. I think this is my second year on the board. I'm also the board secretary. And so, our director is Elizabeth Howe. She's absolutely amazing. And so I love it. I'm very passionate about animals, about horses. And what I see is beautiful about it is I've been able to do this a little bit with some of Matt's clients, like their children kind of thing, is doing a little bit of equine therapy. And this is my dream when I retire, is being able to use this broken horse with this broken person and just see the healing that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are absolutely amazing when it comes to therapy, and I love it. So
I'll explain what the safe harbors, because you went off kind of all over the place.
Well, because as a friend of yours, because I knew that you were doing the horse thing at your house. Okay, it's like, okay, Christy does the horse thing and the goats, and we got all kinds
cows
of things going
and sheep,
on, going on. So I knew that there was a horse rescue, but then I didn't understand the tie-in to Safe Harbor. So you're a Safe Harbor entity,
no, it's kind of yes, kind of no. So what Safe Harbor does is, so like with Bosco and Kira, the first two that started this whole joyful experience.
He's being so sorry.
No, that was sarcasm. What started this was so as what Safe Harbor does, they rescue the horses from, in the case of Bosco, a kill pen, and they find a local farm or local house that will basically like fostering a child.
Yes, we have foster
the farm will foster the horse, and then the volunteers will go to that farm and basically, if they're able to. So if you're out there and you're looking for some volunteer possibilities, what they try to do is they try to pair up, one person at a farm for every day. So Christy go out there once a week, twice a week. And she would clean the hooves and just do some of the light maintenance that the owner of a horse would normally do. So what that does is it kind of alleviates some of the weight off the burden, takes some of the burden off the folks that are fostering the horse.
Okay.
And with that too, they also provide all the feed, the veterinary services and everything. So the only thing the owner of the farm has to do, again, just a stall.
Is housing.
And it's housing. That's all they're doing.
I'm like, he listens to me.
You're like, oh, yay, he's paying attention.
I can explain it clearly.
You are so funny. You are so cute.
That's kind of what we're doing right now, is we're really trying to raise up awareness for the I'm going to say, just call it a ministry. It is a 501(c), but it's not necessarily a religious organization per se. Even though a lot of the folks that are involved are maybe believers, but it's not. It's not professed to be like a religious organization. It's just a lot of folks that just love horses.
Okay.
Like myself, I know we pick on me being a Yankee. I could really live with horses, live without. I could really care less. But I love animals. Yeah. And to see, like, if we could ever show the picture of what Bosco looked like before, he was emaciated. It was unreal. You look at him now, and the work that they've been able to do is just amazing.
That's cool.
These horses, they get done racing by 10 or 11.
Yeah. They got another 10 years on their life.
If not more. I mean, they still got half of a life.
Yeah, so Bosco's 28 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he was done racing around 10 or 11.
Wow.
So,
You've had him that long?
He's
I've
been
had him for
5 years.
Okay.
But he was been the rescue since 2017. And so he was born in 96. I don't remember when he started racing, but he was done racing in 04.
Usually by 1. Usually racing at 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so yes, we get the horses either directly from auctions or law enforcement seizures or people calling us up saying for whatever reason XYZ, I can no longer take care of this horse.
Yeah.
Then we intake them, any rehab, any training that we do. It's a lot of money with all that rehab, including not only the feed but veterinarian care, stuff like that. And
horses are cheap.
No,
you know what I'm saying? You can buy a horse cheap. It's the upkeep that kills you.
Yeah.
Mark and I, we've always, toyed with the idea of having some Belgians because that's what his family raises.
Yep. But then we adopt them out.
Yeah, it's so expensive. Horses. Mark says, he goes, yep, you want to get a horse? He goes, put a bucket by your door and just throw $100 in it every time you go through the doorway.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what his family used to say. If you really want to get a horse, just do that, and then you'll have an idea of how expensive they are.
But there's therapeutic. I know she picks on me all the time for not being a horse person, but I'm up there working on, I'm building her a barn right now, and I'll sit up there and have conversations with the horses. Yeah. During the daytime, she's like, "Oh, look at you love my horses."
I love horses. I do. I've never had much exposure to them because I grew up on a farm, and when I was very young, we were a dairy farm and we had a couple of horses. But I'm very young. We switched over to hog production, and we no longer had horses, and so I was just never around them. And so I've always been curious about them, but I've just never had the opportunity to work with them. So I'm going to have my grandson with me next week for a few days. Can I bring him out to see?
Yes,
the horses?
Absolutely.
Horses and the goats and the sheep.
The goats. Oh yeah, he would love that. He would love it because that's one thing. We have our little farm, but only livestock we have are dogs. Now we do have a Great Dane right now that looks like a small horse.
Yeah.
But but we've never had. I kind of, part of me wants to have livestock like that, and then I'm like, because I grew up dealing with livestock.
It's not hard. I mean, it's not. She goes away. She makes it seem like it is, but I can have it done in no time.
Yeah.
You're never there.
Whenever.
Well, I know my friend Sally Shaman.
Whenever I gotta feed them, I'm done like in 20
You've met
minutes.
Sally, haven't
Yes,
you? Okay,
yes.
Sally's my dear friend on Lawrence Lane, and she is a exceptional horse person. She just knows her. I mean, she does a wonderful job. And but she can't leave.
Yeah, you are.
Can't leave.
And that's our area that we have. I have issue with because here I am, like second half of my life. I'm a teacher now, so if I want to take the summer, I have summer off. Hey, let's go do this. We can't because we got
all the livestock.
We got a lot.
Now
all
with
the
your
critters.
dad there, that's a big help.
Yes, that helps. Right, we are right next to my parents, so we really rely on each other, taking care of the animals and things like that.
Her daughter and son-in-law are there now, so they probably have more flexibility than they did. But that's one thing I've always talked to her about. It's just like it's really hard to get away from the livestock.
It is.
The nice part about this, going with standard breds, focusing primarily on standard breds. Think about they're by being harness racers and with the carts, whatever. They're a lot more docile than say a thoroughbred or something like that. So they're already used to being harnessed and stuff like that. So they're gonna be a lot more mellower than maybe a thoroughbred.
Yeah,
they're very versatile. They can do anything. They're actually even one of the most popular breds for law enforcement
Really?
horses.
Okay.
Because of their kind of mellow personality and easy to be handled.
Okay. We're talking with Matt and Christy Driscoll, and we're talking about just all the things, but we're talking about Safe Harbor Sanctuary, which Christy has a harbor. They have a harbor at their house, I guess we call it. What do y'all call it? I've got to do a break, so let's come back. But you have a different name for your
My farm's called Winds of Grace.
That's what I knew. I was trying to think of it, and it's like, but it's a safe harbor.
Yeah, so I am volunteer board member for Safe Harbor. What I am using my farm for is for training the volunteers.
Okay.
Currently, other than Bosco and Kira, my other 3 horses aren't Safe Harbor. I have 4 rescues. 2 are rescues from another place, and I only have 1 horse that's not a rescue. But That's what I do for Safe Harbor. Then our foster farms are all throughout Middle Tennessee and even Southern Kentucky.
See, my friend, I've got to do a break, but
Yep.
do you know Devin O'Day? If she's over in Lebanon, she does something similar, and it may be for the same organization. I need to connect you guys. Let me do a break, though. We're talking with Matt and Christy Driscoll about all the things, but particularly about Safe Harbor today, and who knows what else will come up. But we need to pause and talk about one of our sponsors, one of our wonderful sponsors, Love Cumberland Connect. If you have not seen the benefit of having Cumberland Connect and all the high-speed internet options, the internet has replaced our phone lines. That's a reality that people have come to for a while now. And so if you want to be able to work from home, if you want to be able to upload video and photography and all those kinds of things, you need to have Cumberland Connect. Now, if you're a Cumberland Electric customer, they're distracting me. I'm like, what are y'all doing over there? If you're a Cumberland you're fine. If you're a Cumberland Electric customer, you're going to have access to Cumberland Connect. That's just the fact. If they're not in your neighborhood yet, they will be soon. And the way you can find out is you can go to cumberlandconnect.org, put in your address, or you can give them a call and actually talk to a human being that's local. 800-987-2362, 800-987-2362. Give them your address, and they'll say, hey, we're there. Would you like for us to come and connect you? Or they will say, we'll be there at maybe in August. They'll give you the projected date when they think they're going to be in your neighborhood. It's a great company, wonderful to work with. With us having the outbuildings, they have got a program where we can do an extender to our outbuildings. And my husband's been pushing back on this a little bit, but he really wants a man cave in we have a dairy barn that's an office building, basically. It was finished out 30 years ago. And so he wants to turn the top into a man cave. And I reminded him the other day, without an extender, you will not have internet, because it's got a metal roof. And so I think I finally have talked him into it. So you'll get an update on that very, very soon. But if you're a Cumberland Electric customer, Cumberland Connect is your answer for high-speed internet. $80 will get you a gig. You can join the gig club just like me, and you will be so thrilled you did. When you get in touch with them, please always let them know. CumberlandConnect.org or call them 800-987-2362. Matt and Christy Driscoll. So the question was,
Safe Harbor and how it operates. You're asking about the farm and what we do. What she does, and that's where I've been trying to work really diligently on. I'm building her a barn right now.
Good job.
Yeah, that's my summer project. So as she can have folks come out, the volunteers. So some of the things I guess I'm gonna say I roped in, or I don't know how we're going to say how I started getting involved in this now.
Because you're her husband.
Bless their hearts, and I don't mean this in a Southern sense. I guess I'll mean it in a Yankee sense. There are a lot of good folks here, but not too many extroverts, right? So they have a lot of great ideas, but no hyper extroverts.
Yeah.
So there's been a few things. Yeah, a few things where I'm like, I've been sitting back, kind of like, I've been good about not like pointing things out or whatever, but I'm like, all right, well, what have y'all thought about doing this? So one of the areas that really been in need of is really just a lot of good promotion, and kind of recruiting. Some of the areas that I could really use recruiting on. So again, please, if you're out there and you're interested, the volunteers, always the more volunteers, the better. If you have a love for horses, if you've ever been around them, or what was it? Maybe spend an hour at a time in a barn. So
minimum, yes.
Yeah, at a minimum, an hour to 2 hours. At somebody's house, the barn, once a week. Just loving on some of these horses and bringing them back to health. So volunteerism is one thing we're looking for. Second, farm. If you got some space and you could willing to foster a horse, that'd be great. Would look forward to that. But the biggest one really is the money. Mm-hmm. We're gonna start doing a lot more promotions. Our worship team, we wanted to do a songwriters night, and we're gonna make this happen here. Probably looking like early September.
Okay.
Thinking about running out the fairgrounds and bringing in just local Middle Tennessee worship teams together and just kind of do like a faith night, and we'll have all proceeds go to Safe Harbor. We'll try to get out there, do like a lot of the rodeos and a lot of the other different events, set up booths, and maybe we have a lot of donated tack, and we'll maybe sell donated tack, like a thrift store tack at the booths, and then whatever money we can make off that go toward this. Because we're joking about the amount of money. You said, Mark said, walk by a horse, you drop $100 in the bucket. Mm-hmm. You can buy a horse $100.
Yeah.
You know, you
Not
can buy
quite 100,
well,
but-
you can buy a horse pretty cheap. I mean, you can adopt them pretty cheap too. But the upkeep, you know, I remember the first time after we had the horses and we were, you know, doing our taxes on them, and she's like going down the list. My jaw just kept on going lower and lower and lower and lower and lower.
Oh gosh, I spend more on horses than he does at a part-time job.
Yeah,
Like his paycheck was what I was spending.
it is unreal. So that's by having the foster farm, not having to deal with that expense is just amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So it does take quite a bit of money for all that. So you know, whether it be like I said, whether it be the hay, the feed, the shots, just all the different things to upkeep them is huge. So that will be a big one. We're going to try to do is a lot more fundraising type events. Like I said, awareness. I always use volunteers. You know, a lot of folks will come in and like, oh, my grandma had a picture of a horse in her house, and I figured I'd go do this, and they don't last that long as volunteers.
Right.
So what I really like to try to do is try to market towards.
So hold on one second. That's not necessarily true. What we do is, if you have no horse experience, that's absolutely okay. You spend some time with me on getting that training and getting comfortable. And we never put just one single person alone with taking care of the horse. I always pair up an inexperienced volunteer with an experienced volunteer. So it's a give and take. If you're wanting horse experience, we'll give you that. We'll give you the training for it. If you already have the horse experience, we absolutely need you. We need people to help ride the horses. Like, we will send them to a professional trainer and get them trained. But as we're waiting for someone to adopt them, we do need someone that can ride them for us and, you know, keep their training up to speed.
Okay. Yeah, because you I mean, that's the thing. Horses that have been ridden, you've got to keep riding them, or they'll be like, okay, get off me.
Like I would be the beginner. I'd be the one that's basically okay. Just show me the basics. You're not gonna throw me on a horse.
Right. Oh, I'd love to be a rider. I you know, I was talking about, we had some horses when I was a kiddo, and I got bucked off and was afraid of them, you know, when I was little. And then was never around them, you know. And so now my husband, because they still have Belgians. I mean, massive horses that his brother, they were workhorses. We've got a picture of his dad behind a big Belgian pulling logs back in, you know, in the probably 50s. I don't know. But nonetheless, so he grew up. Mark grew up with the big monster.
The only horse I ever rode before marrying Christy was the ones at Walmart where you drop a quarter into it. That was about the extent of my horse riding experience.
That's great.
I'm pretty cool at keeping it at that.
So so you've put some links up. If you're on social media, you can see the links, and I'll have you put them up too in the comments on the WSGI page. If you go to my page, LaVern Vivio, I share 2 videos. I share the one that originates at the WSGI page, and I also share one independent on my page, simply because of the way those things work on Facebook. For us to get the most eyes on it, that's what we need to do. So anything you want to put them up on both of those, and you can catch those links. But for somebody, we have a terrestrial signal. People are just listening out there. That's our big audience, really, are the people just listening. The Facebook, social media stuff's extra. So how would you tell them to find you just audibly? What would you tell them to go look up?
So go to the internet and go to the website safeharborhorses.org.
Okay.
safeharborhorses.org. O-R-G.
And we'll put that out a couple of times to make sure you can write that down. But that is, I mean, this is so many people. We've had somebody, we pass their house a lot. And it seems to be that they have a child that wanted horses. And of course, Mark just has a fit. He doesn't think they're being fed enough. And of course, he grew up around, I don't know. I said, wait until you see horses down in Mexico and you'll see. I mean, have you ever been down south of the border to see? Because it's a different world. And nonetheless, so I don't know how much horses need. They've got them fenced in an area that's not a ton of grass. So you need to really supplement that constantly with hay, wouldn't you?
Yes.
They should need about, what, acre and a half?
So
one article you see is 1 acre.
No, but one
2.
horse would require 2 acres.
One horse requires 2 acres.
Yep.
So if you got 2 horses, you need 4 acres.
Yes.
Or they can't properly graze.
Or you're doing, they can't graze, or you're feeding a lot of hay.
Yeah, you're feeding hay year round. Regardless, you really have to work on your parasite control with manure. But if you have less than 2 acres per horse, you're going to have more parasites. You really got to be better about cleaning that up. It's possible. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
But
They seem to be doing better because I think they've had some. Because I mean, people will report you if you're not taking care of your horses.
Yes.
Right?
And so your local animal control is who you call, the first person to call. Don't go on anyone's property or do anything and just go through the proper sources. Even our website, if you go to safeharborhorses.org, it goes through the steps what you need to do if you suspect neglect or abuse.
Well, and I don't think it's so much that. I think they just don't really realize how much it requires. I have, we for years rescued giant breed dogs. A lot of people that get giant breed dogs don't realize how demanding they are and how much food they eat. I mean, since we brought this, we've got a new Great Dane puppy. Our dog food bill has doubled. He eats twice what the other two dogs eat easily. But we knew that going in. And so that's the thing. A lot of people get horses and it's kind of like you get a bunny at Easter and you have no idea what you're really getting into.
Yes, and that happens. And you think that if you look out in the field and it's kind of sort of green, that's fine, but they won't eat every type of grass, and that field is probably weeds, so it is a lot. And if you don't have a way to rotate those horses or get them off that same field, they're going to turn your field into a dry lot. They're going to eat up all the grass.
Well, and that kind of seems to be what's happening. Yeah.
Horses are a little different than cows, where they'll pull up from the roots too.
Yeah. And I will say, sometimes not every emancipated horse is bad. It could be. Did I say it wrong? And
emaciated. Yeah, that's like.
Sorry.
But we knew what you meant.
Yeah, it could be an elderly horse. It could be a horse under rehab, and a lot of the times it's just a matter of it's your neighbor. Just have that respectful conversation.
Yeah, it looked like we had driven by there the other day. Well, it's been probably a couple of months ago, and again, my husband's like, just because he just thinks the horses are not getting fed properly, and it looked like somebody had thrown a big round of hay just over the fence because it wasn't inside the cage. It's like somebody just took it upon themselves just to throw some hay in. I was like, okay. I don't know. So I'm just not, I don't really know what to say, but he keeps an eye on them. I say that. And I think there's a lot of other people do too, because I think they just got into a little bit more than they were expecting.
And we help with stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we have helped families who reach out. I'm going through hard times, and we'll help provide hay, things of that nature. Okay. Just while we're on some of the other things that Safe Harbor will do, we have this special fundraiser called Charlie's Fund, named after one of our horses that passed away. And we fundraise, and we just help people with medical expenses, veterinarian expenses, or just humanely to put a horse down through euthanization. So
okay, so because it is expensive, guys. If you've never looked into livestock and the cost of it, jeez, oh Pete, it is so expensive. And I mean, all you got to do is take a dog to a vet and see how expensive veterinary services are now. Good heavens!
I'm not saying this just because we're on radio. My wife's next to me, but I do appreciate the joy they do bring.
Oh yeah.
For me, I'm kind of like indifferent, I guess it seems, but I do see the joy it brings to her. I see the joy it does bring when she brings his volunteers out. And they said it may have been something they had as a child, and to be able to come out and have that experience again, it's pretty awesome. I know they appreciate it. So, and I do appreciate what she does at the house and what we're trying to do there. For the folks like I think of the the one girl was the nurse. It's been coming out. She grew up with horses as a kid, and she lives down in Davidson County, where you're not gonna have too many horse farms down there. So she's able to come out to the country and spend a little time with them, and you can tell she's really enjoying it and getting a lot out of it.
She absolutely loved it. It was her farm therapy.
Yeah. And that's really what it is. We say that they're expensive, but hang around horses pick up on your vibe. They really do.
I get that.
We got one Walt that throws a muzzle on, and he's got such a personality. Because I feel every time she puts a muzzle on him, he looks like Hannibal Lecter. I feel bad for him. Like, I want to take it off, and every now and then I'll take it off early. But he'll come
why would you muzzle him?
Okay, so he has this chronic condition called laminitis, and so short version is just during the summer he can't eat a whole lot of grass.
That are high in sugars.
So I muzzle him during the summertime to reduce the amount of grass intake that he has for his health.
Okay, and he's like, I
mean,
he's not happy about it.
No, not at all.
He comes up to me. He looks all pitiful, and it's like we have a conversation. He literally says, "Hey, human, take this off me for me." And I sense it. I'm like, "All right, come here, buddy."
Yeah.
And that's why they're such great therapy animals, is as prey animals, they have the skill set and the training, or not training necessarily, but the instinct, thank you, of reading on your emotions. Like, they can read your heartbeat as you're walking up on them. They're reading your facial expressions, and they remember all that. And then so they're feeding off of you.
Yeah. I know anybody that I know that has horses that spends a lot of time with them. It's just a special relationship. Like I said, knowing Sally as long as I have, I mean, her horses are just, that relationship she has with those animals is so sweet. I mean, it's just so special. And so it's cool. I mean, I'm envious of it. I'm not going to take on horses right now, but I think it's a cool relationship. I really do. I think it's cool. Now you also, I got to know about. So you've got how many horses, how many goats, how many cows? What do you have?
We're up to 5 horses.
Let's see if he can keep up with it all.
Okay,
like, does he really know?
Horses?
5 horses, 4 dogs. We'll call it 4 cats ish, because we got like all the neighborhood cats too. 2 goats, 3 sheep, 1 cow,
and 4 calves.
4 calves.
Yeah, technically.
So that's my dad's.
Oh.
So my dad's getting into cattle.
Okay.
And so he's going to auctions, buying these calves.
But everybody's already, all the calves are already called.
And so, on part of the property that's one of the fields is 4 calves.
Okay.
So, the cow that we have started off where my dad was trying to.
His name was Ribeye, and it got changed to Rubble.
Well, it was Rubble. It got changed to Ribeye and back to Rubble. But I paid for him. Like, I was bottle feeding him. So there's no way we're eating this cow.
It's a pet cow. Who's good?
I raised it with my goats for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's how that story went. Is my father-in-law comes home with a cow, and he puts up like the front of his property, and he's like, "Yeah, I got us a cow." And it's like, why'd you do that? He said, "Don't worry, your wife and my wife will never be around that thing, and they're not gonna fall in love with it." Within 24 hours, that cow is in my backyard with her with a bottle in its mouth.
It's like, that one's not going to be going to the freezer.
No, it's not. I was like, the moment I walk back there, she's got the bottle in its mouth. Like, it's over, game over. And then we have our neighbors. Bless their heart. I love that they're awesome neighbors, but we'll do them a favor for something, and they'll try to return the favor by throwing an animal at us. So it's like, stop it. I almost don't want to do nice things for them anymore, because every time we do, I got another critter.
Oh, my God.
So the goats, it started with the goats. I mean, she was literally, because they were little babies, and what they're called kids, right?
Nothing cuter than a baby goat.
Oh my
So she would bottle feed the goats, and then in the morning, so our neighbors still had the mamas, so they're still trying to wean them off the mamas, so the milk wouldn't dry up. So we would literally drop the kids off at daycare as we'd go to work the next day. We'd literally have to stop, toss them over the fence, then go spend time with the mamas.
Oh, funny.
And,
I was keeping them in the house with little diapers.
In the house with little diapers. We had a little guest room.
He hated it. Oh, he hated it.
She was sleeping in the guest room with him.
Lord.
She'd wake up in the morning, come give me a kiss goodbye. She's got goat and poop pee on her. It was like, ugh. It was just, and then it happened with the sheep.
But the farm experience that volunteers get, or people that come out with all of that, they love it. Like, one of my volunteer orientation I did for Safe Harbor, I was bottle feeding 2 sheep, and we sat in the sheep field bottle feeding the lambs, I'm sorry, as we're just going all over talking about Safe Harbor, and it was the best volunteer orientation I've ever done. It was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
So, they come out and they do the horses, and they walk through and say hi to the sheep and the goats and the Great Pyrenees, and then we'll go visit the pet cow. And I had some middle school students come out, and they had a blast bottle feeding the calves, and so...
I've definitely got to bring my grandson out next week. We're going to have him from like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we're going to have him several days next week. So I'll definitely try to figure out when we can come out, because I want him to see all the animals. We'll stop up and see Sally's horses from time to time when he's down there. But the goats, she doesn't have any goats or anything like that. So I think that'd be fun. Let me do a break. Talking with Matt and Christy Driscoll, talking about Safe Harbor. And this is a horse sanctuary, and she's a part of that at their farm and all the things that they have going on. But just enjoying visiting with my friends and finding out a little bit more about what I knew she was doing, but I didn't understand all the ins and outs of it. So, but let's do pause and let's talk about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty, our oldest full-time sponsor here, and we appreciate them so much. They are so plugged into the real estate community. If you need help, no matter if you're buying or selling, whatever it might be, they can direct you to the right place, to what you need, to anything that's going on. So remember that as a marketer, Barry was a vice president of a media marketing company for over 17 years up in Nashville. He opened a brokerage office on the downtown square here in Springfield. Well, his wife, Rebecca, has been at this a long time. She's one of the first in the area to be a senior real estate specialist. She has her agency office in White House. Now, they're all part of Exit. They were part of the Exit Garden Gate team for many, many years, and they decided just to put a new branch in the Exit tree earlier this year, and so now they are Exit Prime Realty. You can Google Barry Richards, Exit Prime Realty, Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty, or you can give Rebecca a call. That's a real easy way to connect with them, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Again, if you have, they're cross-Planians. They've been here for almost 30 years, so they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky because they're from Kentucky. They're the whole package, guys. Can't say enough about the way they work in the community and their outreach and all the things they do. Barry, I can't begin to tell you how he has been my lifeline running the audio video program because he knows all the things about all of that. And he's been my expert that I have had to turn to constantly. If you want somebody that understands that when it comes to videography, photography, drone footage, walkthrough tours, he's your guy. Reach out to him today. Again, Rebecca's number is 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, and please always let them know that that's always working. Matt Driscoll talking about all things safe harbor and all the things that they're working. We're talking about everything safe harbor. So stay on top of that.
Well, one thing you'd mentioned, you had a friend 11 and you thought you did something similar. So there are a lot of rescues in the area. So please support your local rescue. You can just search for rescues on Facebook. If you're looking for a horse, just look at a rescue. A lot goes into rehabbing and training the horses. And then I can't speak for all of them, but I know for Safe Harbor, we have this lifetime safety net. So you adopt a horse from Safe Harbor. This actually happened in Bosco. You adopt a horse Safe Harbor, let's say for whatever reason, medical illness, financial illness, financial issues, you can't keep the horse, call us up and we'll come get them back. Okay. So please look in, if you're a horse shopping for horses, look into local rescues.
I just pulled up Devin's profile, and she's Mustang Heritage Foundation.
Yes.
So she is marketing director there. So maybe it's through them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, okay.
One of my horses is a Mustang. So
okay, very good. And because I know she's been doing that a long time, and but y'all need to connect.
Absolutely.
Y'all would be besties real quick.
Probably give some good ideas.
Yeah.
So like with the standard bred, it's just so funny how the way God works out. So I grew up pretty much raised at a horse track up in Maine called Scarborough Downs. My stepdad, who was, I'm gonna go on a record on saying this, probably one of the smartest men I've ever known. Okay. And I don't throw that compliment out lightly to anybody. Great man, Sal DeMario. So if you happen to watch this, plug out to you. Great man, but he grew up, or he pretty much, he's been general manager of multiple tracks throughout America. He's been on standard bred boards for this and standard bred boards for that. Really super well connected. And for the longest time, I've been telling Christy, hey, we should talk to Sal. I mean, the guy knows standard breds. He knows that world.
Interesting.
Okay. It's just kind of funny how God kind of moves pieces around. So we went up to Oak Grove, and we posted because they donated money for us, not for us, but for them.
For Safe Harbor.
For Safe Harbor. And it made it on the Standard Bred magazine. And so he gets, he's on the board, whatever. So he gets the email with the article, and right there, smack dab in the article is a picture. And right in the middle of the picture was Christy and I right in the middle of this picture. And he's like, hey, that's Matthew and Christy. And he's calling me up and talking. He's like, and next thing you know, he's calling me saying, hey, I know that you got to go talk to the general manager. He's like a really dear friend. Just tell him that you're my stepson. And, so it's just kind of funny how God works through the connections. So hopefully this will kind of be a good door for us, because Oak Grove is only 4 years old as far as racing. Yeah. And that, with Safe Harbor wanting to focus primarily on standard breds, that should be a really good relationship. So I'm looking forward to exploring that and hopefully that brings a lot more awareness. And Sal was telling her and I basically all these different organizations and groups you should be plugging out to. There's money available there for donations and stuff like that. So God has a funny way. If you had told me,
small world,
right?
Yes.
Of all the men for you to meet, of all the gin joints in the world,
I love it.
it's just kind of funny how things work out.
Yeah.
So we'll
God
see.
just works it all together. Well, like I said, just the fact that the land next to your dad came for sale. I kind of remember you guys talking about that and everything, and it was just so cool. I mean, what a coincidence.
Yeah. And it's almost funny about that is, how much had changed since I moved away in 98, 99, and then obviously came out there plenty of times with my parents, but when I lived there, that was just kind of a field. I used to ride my horses back there where our house is now.
Right.
And how there's a blessing, what that made me think about is how there's a blessing always just right there that you never even noticed it. Mm-hmm. Like I never even paid attention to that place. And every now and then I'll come across like an old picture from 10, 15 years ago, and I could slowly see where they were starting to build our house now. So
how fun. That's cool. Mm-hmm. I love it. How those little dots connect, and just an interesting conversation. And it's just something that's greatly needed in this area because there's so much with the horse community. There's so many different things going on, and so many people kind of move to this area, Kentucky and Tennessee, because of the horses.
Yep.
And so it's just a great need. So very good.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm excited to come out and see it.
Yeah. So something just to add on to, so you mentioned Lipscomb, and one of my capstone project for my master's degree is on slaughtering horses. So it is illegal in the United States to consume horse meat, but it's not illegal to transport those horses to Mexico and Canada to be murdered or killed, put down, slaughtered, and shipped off. So there is something that is legislative has been trying to get passed called the SAFE Act. And there is a new iteration of it in 2023. So if you could please look up the SAFE Act 2023. I'm trying to remember what it stands for, but I can't right now. I'll post it also. But reach out to your representatives about supporting that. So.
Okay, interesting. Huh? I never knew any of that. I had no clue.
And then you can justify both sides of the house why, but when it comes down to it, is statistically they are not humanely put down because of the way that their body's built. You don't always. I'm trying not to go into too much details, but they're still alive sometimes when they're starting to be taken apart, And I could go on and on talking about that, but I don't want to go into too much details. But just something to look into, these beautiful horses that you're talking, or these beautiful animals that you're talking about, just how disgraceful their lives can end. So,
okay. Oh, that's the thing. Having grown up in on a farm, a livestock farm, and we eat meat, but it has to be done humanely, and that is the thing. And you want to make sure that you're consuming from a farm that is, or you want to make sure that the processing plants. I mean, we had a. My brother will be like, "No, LaVern, that's not how it was." My understanding was we had a contract with a packing plant, but it was all very. That's for hogs, and but it was done exactly like it should be done. I mean, they were inspected, all these kinds of things. So, those are the kinds of things that you need to know about. And you get across the borders and things are done differently. So, I spend a lot of time in Mexico. I never really thought about that,
And if you're like,
I'll keep eating fish down there now that you mention it.
And if you're on the side to where, you know what, it's an animal, we need to feed these other countries and things like that. So something just to think about is, the health of the meat, like the abuse they get sometimes, and that's bruising the meat, the diseases that they could have. I know that there's processing plants that check for things of that nature, but it's not always the case.
True.
So.
True.
A lot of these horses are really, like I said, really emaciated. They're malnourished. I've learned more about horses over the past couple of years than I ever thought I would.
Well,
and it's one of the reasons we're also, so Safe Harbor's been around for, oh my gosh, I think now it's been going on 11 years. I mean, it started off, dog rescue, and then we were doing like even pigs and rabbits, and people still call us up for barn cats. And so just over the last year, ever since more so around COVID time period, even before that, I know Elizabeth has been talking about let's go just to standard breds. So where standard breds, the racing, then their skill set, they're used for all kinds of other stuff, but they are larger animals. So they also are murdered. I keep saying murder, but that's just how I personally feel. Sorry. But they're also slaughtered for their meat because of how big they are. So,
and you talk about, that's one thing when you were talking about how emaciated they might be and diseased. That's something that our wildlife resource officers will talk about, how that, you hunt during a time when you don't have that with deer and things like that. So you have to take that into consideration. People hunt when it's cooler weather because it's better stock. It's better stock. It's not, you go hunt something right now and it's going to be covered with fleas and ticks and all the things, and they're not going to be fattened up. So it's interesting. This is interesting stuff. Talking with Matt and Christy Driscoll about all things Safe Harbor and what they have going on at their farm, which is nearby. And what do you want to put the address out, or do you want to tell people where you're located, or do they need to reach out to you and then get the address and all that? But it's local. It's local. Put it that way.
So
why don't you just showing up? So
by appointment only.
We're Safe Harbor. There's no one centralized location. We're foster farms all throughout. So we don't post addresses because there are people's personal properties.
Sure. That makes perfect sense.
But where I do the training at is north of Springfield and Barren Plains.
Okay, very good. We're down to about the last 5 minutes. I've got one more spot to do. So you guys kind of talk amongst yourselves and figure out how you want to wrap this time up this morning. Maybe do a plug for Celebrate Recovery, which is tomorrow night. I think we probably need to do that since we're in the space. If y'all don't, you think so? I think so. Yeah. You were telling us to invite people last week, so there's your opportunity. But we're going to take a break and we're going to talk about veterans and motorplex, you guys. Okay, here's the deal. If you've not been to the races, and I've told y'all this so many times, if you've not been to the races, you have no idea what you're missing. It is so much fun. One of the best kept secrets in Robertson County, I think, is the old Highland Rim Speedway, which is, I was talking with Mayor Vogel about this the other day, last week, and just the history out there and the people who have raced on that track. I honestly didn't know it was that old. And he started talking about being a young man and being out there. And this is at 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. It's now called Veterans Motorplex, but it's the old Highland Rim Speedway. If you look up Highland Rim Speedway, you'll find out all you need to know about where it's located, the history of it. The banner, when you go to social media, you still look them up at Highland Rim Speedway, but the banner is Veterans Motorplex. When Jerry took over the place, he kept that website because, I mean, they had enough followers, things like that. People were connected, but he reinvented it. I mean, he is a veteran himself, has so much respect for military and God and all things that a lot of us here in Robertson County stand for. So you're going to enjoy being a part of it. It is a family-friendly environment, and by that I mean there's no alcohol sold or allowed on the premises, and that's very unusual for a racetrack. So you don't have to worry about any of that if you want to go out. And a $40 ticket will get your whole family in, up to 6 kids and 2 adults. They got a great concession stand. The local kids, some of them, that's their first summer job, is working for the racetrack. I had several of my kids in my class last year that was their first summer job, was working at the racetrack. It is a great time. It is a cool track. They started a little bit late this year because they were doing some renovations out there. But typically the racing season is March to October. It might extend a little bit if the weather allows in November because they got a late start. They were doing the renovations, but it looks great. It is awesome. Every Saturday, weather permitting, rain can shut them down. You can go and check out this quarter-mile high-banked asphalt bull ring. Fun for the whole family. Racetrack, I mean, local favorites. I can't say enough about it. It's a blast. It truly is a blast. Went several times last year. I'll get out there several times this year. Going to get my grandkids out there. Cannot wait. It's a fun time. Go and see them this weekend, 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier for Veterans Motorplex. Follow them at Highland Rim Speedway and always look up. Okay, guys. We got about 4 or 5 minutes.
Real quick, I need to settle an argument. Did I say XYC or XYZ earlier?
I thought you said XYZ, but
He's been, every break, he's been saying I said C. I'm like, why would I say C?
well, you can go back and listen.
We'll go back and listen and watch.
You can go back and listen and verify it, but I thought you said XYZ.
Maybe so. But I am very nervous, and so I have been tripping.
Oh,
over my
really?
words a lot, so
You get
it's a
nervous on
possibility.
doing this?
I do.
Really?
Yes.
I wouldn't think that.
But let's give CR a shout out.
Yeah, shout out CR.
We have a blue chip for that, by the way.
Being nervous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a blue chip for that. So Celebrate Recovery. Please join us tomorrow night, every Tuesday night at Epiphany Baptist Church at 211 First Avenue, Springfield. Again, it's 211 First Avenue in Springfield. We have dinner at 5:30. Service starts at 6:30. Large group, small group at 7:30. Love to have you out. We have childcare available, so if you got some little ones, by all means, bring them. We'll watch them for you. If you ever heard about it and want to know a little bit more about it, look, it's not just for addictions. It's for anybody that struggles with life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. We all have them. Yep. So please join us.
Yeah, that's the big thing is I'll say something about people to be, while I'm involved with Celebrate Recovery. I didn't know you were in recovery. I'm like, we're all in recovery, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, I don't have alcohol and drug addictions, but I do have bitterness and resentment issues. I got church issues and all kinds of spiritual issues, and I got food issues, big. And that's what I work on. So Celebrate Recovery is for all of us. We're supposed to, tell our stories to each other so we can pray for each other so we can be healed.
Absolutely. It's biblical.
That's right, baby.
Can you tell us how to get in contact with Safe Harbor?
Again, go through it one more time.
But do it twice.
safeharborhorses.org, O-R-G. And again, that's safeharborhorses.org, O-R-G.
He's been doing the radio stuff enough that he knows you got to do it twice.
Yeah, do it twice.
It's radio way.
Again, the Safe Harbor, it's like I said, we need volunteers, need foster farms. Money.
Event planners, if you have any skills with social media, this stuff is not our forte. We could really help with that.
Social media big.
Because,
that stuff.
This is all volunteer driven, so it's not like there's no full-time staff. So it's all volunteer driven. So if you're just looking for anything to be able to plug into, again, if you're not a person, if you're not of faith, and it isn't like I said, it's not faith driven. So I know we have CR and a lot of things we do is faith-minded. So I don't want people freak people out, thinking, oh, here's a bunch of just Christians, whatever. But so it's not. It's for anybody. So if you're looking for some way of plugging in and just doing some kind of service, like she said, they could use help with the social media, the event planning,
administrative, taxes.
Yeah.
All of it. Yeah.
Anything, all the above. I see the potential with it. That's why I'm really trying to get involved too. I do see potential. I see their heart. Christy and Elizabeth, they both have amazing heart for this. I want to see them succeed.
That's awesome. I love it. And if we get when we get the benefit together with we Imperfect Few, the guys, guys, nothing. I mean, April's part of that too, but they wanting to kind of spearhead that. That'll be awesome. That'll be a fun fundraiser. Tell them how to get in touch with you for counseling services because he is also a licensed counselor.
All right, feel free to give me a call at 615-598-3848, 615-598-3848. My main area of focus, for me, I just love couples counseling. I'll do any counseling, for anybody, but I think as far as probably the one area, my main focus is definitely couples because I know God has restored our marriage, and just I can't think of any better way of paying it forward is to, work with other marriages that could use a little help.
Well, and he's helped Mark and I kind of work through some stuff, and I just appreciate some things that you taught us. We use, and you're a very good counselor. So I can just we've sat down and talked to him from a counseling perspective. Mark,
so you tase him like I taught you?
Yeah, that's it.
It's all about the taser.
No, anyway, love you guys. Any parting thoughts? We good?
We're good.
I think we're good. Matt and Christy Driscoll, my friends, all the things. Safe Harbor Sanctuary here locally. You can reach out to them. Tell them one more time, twice, how to the website.
safeharborhorses.org.
And do it again.
safeharborhorses.org.
One more time, but twice.